Hey everybody, what is up? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I'm also a certified empowerment coach. I'm also president of Express Your Vibe Coaching and Communications. And it is Tuesday night. And you know what we do on Tuesday nights. Most Tuesday nights, we have our men's show. And we're looking to another great conversation tonight about men. When did you learn how to be a man? So I could have went one of two ways. I could have not started the recording until someone came on live, but we have two gentlemen that are on the side and are saying they're going to contribute via conversation piece. So we'll just make that happen. One other thing I'll share with you that two or three, pardon me, was a good dinner, by the way. I'm a brand ambassador for Cuisine Noir magazine, which is the only African American magazine online dedicated to African Americans in food, wine, and travel. And I'm also do regular posts at a website called thegoodmenproject.com. It's one of the most viewed sites in the world for men. The site itself gets 3 million unique visitors a month and 5 million unique page views a month, and I'm the only show that that is allowed to put any content on a regular basis on their platform. So that is a blessing. So tonight's conversation piece, men, when did you learn how to be a man? And we have two men in the audience on the side. They're gonna say they're contributing, so I'm gonna hold them to it and see what happens. So either one of you, James or Amnon, let me put that question to you. When did you learn how to be a man? When was that moment in your journey that you said, you know what, I'm not a boy anymore, I'm a man? So who'd like to start off with that conversation piece on the side? Okay. So James is saying, quite frankly, there were many times I became a man before the one I am about to mention, but nothing clearly defined me more than the time I supported my wife when she was fighting, stage 2 breast cancer. I was there for every chemo treatment, every radiation treatment, and every consultation with an oncologist. I did not have to think about doing these things. They came naturally, but certainly my actions defined me as a man. That is fantastic. So let me ask James first, I tip my head to you for being that support and being a man. And also will ask, I'm not saying he's still learning, but for both of you, do men, in your opinion, learn how to be a man through challenge? Does crisis bring the opportunity to be a better man, not just when things are coasting along? What are your thoughts? Because many a time when things are going well, we don't really stretch. People in general, and men, a lot of men don't stretch themselves. So when things are not going well, is that the opportune time to learn about? That makes sense, doesn't it? But I simply don't think of it. I just do it. So you just do it, never analyzed it this way. Okay. So James, you're saying it does make sense. You just simply think of it, just do it. So you just do it and learn about it after the fact, correct, James? And then Amnon, you're saying never analyze it this way. So putting it that way, Amnon, is what do you feel about that? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? Never thought about it. So you've never thought about becoming a man. It just happened. So do you ever look back in each one of you? Do you ever look back in your journeys and say, wow, that was a defining moment? Yes, but in reflection, that is when I sized myself up. Excellent. Great point. So James, let me ask, when do those times of reflection come up? Give me an example, James, of a time of reflection about manhood that has come to you either recently or in your journey. And same thing about Amnon. Have you ever had a moment that you've reflected back on the man you are, and in that journey, it has to be a good thing? Made it happily through 60. Congratulations. 68 years. Wow. So Amnon, 68 years. That congratulations, a happy birthday tomorrow, Amnon. That's fantastic. So, and also in the quietest moments, James, you're saying in the middle of the night driving in the car. So James, do you make that quiet time? Is that something purposely you do to reflect? Is that something that you do? And Amnon too, do you, excellent. So Amnon, you're 68 years old. I'm going to ask both of you, have you had men in your journey help you learn or show about manhood? Who are some of those people? You know, I have been blessed by having the greatest boss in the world who was one of those men. So what was it about that boss? What were some of the characteristics? And I'll get you Amnon in just a second. So James, what were some of the characteristics of that boss? Because that's interesting that you said boss, not a family member like a father or uncle. What made it special, and what did this boss learn you, if I can put it that way? And Amnon, your dad, my colonel, what did your dad teach you about manhood to help you become the man you are today? So we're just having a moment here. I hope that both you are doing some typing away. Just the way he treated my mom and others around. Okay. So Amnon, I'll go first. Just the way he treated my mom and others around him. So is what, and I would form that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amnon, is that respect, and is respect to you important in manhood? And then James, okay, I'll just go back to James here. Unlike me, he was quite cool. I used to be very reactionary, but his coolness taught me to handle things, in fact, to be a man. So there's something to be said then, James, as you're saying, grace under pressure, knowing when to be a man, when to be aggressive, and then when not to be aggressive, to pull it back. Is that what you mean? And Amnon, in regards to respect, fantastic. So what else, Amnon, did your father teach you? About what did he learn you to be in regards to your manhood, the man that you are today? And James, that's interesting about being cool. Okay, absolutely. It's all tied in with everything in life, not just being a man. Fantastic. And it's interesting about learning to be cool, because some people will misinterpret, never instructed me. It just happened. Wow. So Amnon, let me ask then, who did your dad get his mentorship from? Me too, just happened. So manhood is a learned thing that just happens. It's not is it something that's not a purposeful thing at times? And it's interesting. Probably one of you or both of you are typing. On the weekend, I had the opportunity to, I call it sharing, but people call it speaking, to speak at a rite of passage event. And in the African tradition, rites of passage, if you're not familiar, is when the elders pass on their knowledge to younger people. So interesting about what you're saying here. Well, for me, I didn't exactly grow up in the best of circumstances, but I became a man indeed. So James, not growing up in the best of circumstances, do you have a moment or two that you realize that you said to yourself, I'm bigger than these circumstances. I'm going to, as a man, rise above these circumstances? Amnon, his dad, His dad, I am sure. I never thought or questioned. It was interesting to find out the source. It was life. You lived it and learned it. So you just okay. So here's a conversation piece with younger men. Okay, I have to put myself in anyone's boat. It just evolved over time. So let's do a little comparison here. Learning to be a man. Compare when you were younger to the young men of today. What is easier or more difficult about learning to be a man today compared to when you were in your younger years? A piece of cake in the 70s compared to today's society. Why is it a piece of cake back then compared to now? What is the bigger challenge or some of the challenges that's difficult about men learning about being a man today compared in the 70s, James? Cell phones and internet in this decaying society. I'll make it short. I don't think that anyone can teach you to be a man. It is something you learn in class. It is a life journey. Oh, okay. I may play a little bit of a devil's advocate here. I'm not. Don't you think that some men can provide words of wisdom? Are there manhood teachers? That's a very good. It's a very good subject for another conversation. Are there manhood teachers? There are out there. There are. There's not probably many of them, but I think that any man that's gone through an experience can take the initiative of becoming a manhood teacher. Just a thought. Yes, but they do it because that they hope someone will listen and learn. True. I want to roll back to James's comment about the the interference or the more noise of cell phones and the internet. I agree that there's more distractions, so making the focus for young men to focus on being better men or manhood is much more challenging today than it was even 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But in the 70s, that just radical change in regards to being able to focus on being a man or the real facts of manhood. Do you even enroll in a manhood class? No, that's a very good take. You don't enroll in a class, you just, as you were saying earlier, you just make it happen if you choose to jump in. Because again, it's a choice. It's a choice about learning how to be a man. No one's forcing any young male out there to go into manhood. That's a decision and a choice. I can't imagine growing up, period, in today's society. Wow. Uh, First of all, Amnon, do you agree with that? And James, why do you feel that way? Obviously, there's some strong reasoning that you have about that. And how is that affecting you feel learn how men are learning today? There is one place where there's something close to being a classo, but sometimes you learn the wrong thing. Yes, I agree. I'm not agree. Absolutely agree. Okay, so Emma, let's go there. Men should learn because I took my nieces and nephews and see their problems. Okay, we'll get to you, James, in a second. I'm not saying home. Well, there's a challenging piece. Again, how many homes out there don't have fathers? There's a lot of, yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? Many homes. And even then, yeah, no problem. That's all right. But and even then, there are families that have fathers that are there physically, but are not there emotionally for their young men. And the sad thing about that situation is that's the example of manhood a number of young men are learning, that men are not present. And that's certainly not manhood. Hey, Alicia, come on in if you like. Would love you to drop by. Hope all is well with the fam. Always great to see you. Just having a conversation. Amnon and James were just having a little live conversation. They're not able to come on live through the screen, so we're having a good conversation on the side. So if you want to jump on in, that'd be great. And I heard that you may have a special. Oh, she jumped off. She may have a special guest. Sure, and the young men have nowhere to go to learn if family members. Yes. I just feel our values are decaying, or maybe I'm just becoming an old fuddy-duddy. Well, let's take a look at Amnon's comment, and then we'll look at yours. That, yeah, the family members, the whole setup of what the family is today is certainly something radically different than it was 10, 15 years ago. The world has changed radically from 10, 15 years ago. James, you're saying that I just feel that our values are decaying, or maybe you're not an old fuddy-duddy. I think that in a lot of ways we're doing things and we're not thinking about the long-range impact. It's that short-term gratification piece that so many people are focused on, which is hindering about learning to be a man. And again, there's so much noise out there.
On work, so I'm sitting here anyway typing. Might as well be here.
How are you, sir?
All right. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a second.
No problem. Oh, okay. Let's get him back.
I'm fine, Dr. Vibe. I was just saying, you got me stuck here in front of the computer instead of being in the studio doing work. So might as well join you.
Well, you know what? It's a pleasure and an honor, because I know we've crossed paths and been on blabs on the side, but I think this is maybe one other time we've actually been on the screen together. So first and foremost, happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
James,
go ahead.
I was just saying, James put another. I don't want you. The fact that I came on camera, I don't want you to ignore him.
Not at all. Not at all. And as you see, I'm keeping you all involved in the conversation. So that's going to continue. And I appreciate that you come in, because you have something that I really value. You have evaluated experience. Because there's one thing to have experience, but it's another thing to have evaluated experience. Well, I value that.
Who evaluated it?
Well, I think you've evaluated some of your experiences, right?
Right. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the point. Is that you? I mean, I have a daughter. James is asking me if I'm a dad. I never sat her down and told her how to be a woman. My wife never sat her down and taught her how to be a woman. We lived our life day by day. We set out to set an example, not by sitting there saying, you know what, now I'm going to say such and such, so she will learn from it. No. Yes, there were points here and there where you sit there and you say, you shouldn't have done this. This is how you do, things. But in life, you hope that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You hope that they would learn from experience.
Do you feel okay? Gonna do a contrast. Right. You raised your daughter, and basically you didn't sit down and teach her. and you didn't have that, you growing up, your father didn't teach you to be a man. You basically learned by
Right.
experience. Do you still feel that that's the best way, even to today's
Yeah,
society?
it's the question it doesn't have, it's moot. It's whatever the word is, because if I say no, I don't think so, then what's the way to do it? Like we said, there are no schools to do it. There is no place where you can go and enroll a fast class on how to become a man. So what do? It's the only way to learn is from living and learning. And hopefully you're learning positive things from positive people. And it takes luck. It does take luck. I mean, people that grow up without a father in their life are just out of luck. It's not their fault, but what can they do? I mean, my father was working. When I come from school, he wasn't there at home. My mom wasn't at home either. And I'm talking growing up in the 50s and 60s back in Israel.
Okay.
And a thing that really shaped my life, not being other than being at home and learning, is, believe it or not, and I'm Jewish, the YMCA. I was a member of the YMCA and I got really involved there. And that was like my second home. And as I grew older and older, I was volunteering there and I was doing a lifeguard and all that. But the people that were there as the directors were good people. I'm still in touch with them. So you can find something to do, or you're lucky that you can fall somewhere where there is positive influence on your life. And sometimes one wrong turn, and the whole thing is your life can turn on a dime, and you can turn out to be the biggest criminal. So I don't know that there is really, other than hoping that the kid grows up with positive values and knows how to recognize the negative ones and what he should. I don't know that there's anything you can do. You can sit all day long and tell a kid, look, don't go out, don't become a member of this gang. How many of them do you think will listen? None.
That's true.
So
Many won't.
it's home. It's mainly at home. It's how your parents teach each other. I mean, we had problems in our life, me and my wife. Did I ever think about, separating, divorcing? Wouldn't even think about it. Why? Because my parents never did, and they had problems. And I thought about it, and I said, wow, if I didn't know my parents, I would have left probably, but there's no way I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn how to work things out.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And I appreciate your reflection here. I see James saying, I recently made a documentary film where I followed 3 people and one of them did not have a dad, and is trying to become a man. So he has to struggle more than I and perhaps the both of you. True.
I was wrong. There are people without a dad that will make it and become good people and positive people and learn, because here it is. That's one of them right there.
Yeah, it's so it's such an incredible conversation about learning. And some people will just say, the best way to learn to be a man is go through the school of hard knocks. Really, they'll say that, like you're saying, is you just got to jump off a cliff and grow your wings on the way down.
But I don't think you think about it before you do it. I think it's just the way your life goes. You don't sit there and you say, you know what? My father is not giving me good example. My friends are not. I'm going to go and I'm going to jump off a cliff and spring my wings, and I'm going to go and do it on my own. You don't think about this. You doing it And maybe later on you can say, I'm glad that I took the bull by the horn and I went out there and did it on my own. But when you do it, I don't think you think about it. You just do it. Especially when you're real young and think you know everything.
Absolutely. Well, and that never changes forever, because when you're younger, you think you know everything, you can do everything.
Yeah.
You think you can do everything and be everything. Both of you said that, well, at least I know James said that it's much more challenging for a man to learn about manhood today compared to in your younger years. Do you, first of all, I know both of you agree on that. Why has it become more difficult to learn about being, and again, I know there's no school or anything like that, but why is it more difficult to learn to be a man today compared to when you were younger, in your opinions?
Because of what James said. All these cell phones and computers and all that are allowing a lot of people to live in their own world. And when they get into their own world, I mean, most guys, what we'll do is they'll go and get into porn, because that's what drives us, sort of, especially when we're young. So it's these things, instead of spending time like around the table with the family, even if you have a dad and mom and siblings, you sit there with your phone, your eyes are down there. You don't learn anything from this time together. Now there is a way, that something that the parents can do and say, hey, put that phone down. We're paying for it. Put it aside. Now you're sitting here and you participate in what we're doing. A lot of them don't, because they just came from the office. They are tired. They are pissed off at what happened at work and all that. And this is, oh, good. They're not saying a word. I want quiet. And it's a snowball.
And I've seen James here. Get this, I'm a videographer. I do a lot of weddings, and a few weeks ago I was looking at the dance floor where I counted 21 people on the floor. Get this, 13 of them had a cell phone on the dance floor. So what are, if it's in both your opinions, if this is not a good situation, what are the negative effects of what you gentlemen both shared, how this social media communication, what are some of the effects of this having on men, if you're of men learning about manhood?
Again, it all depends where you go and what you do with that social media. I don't know why they call it social media even. And I don't know why they call it so. There's nothing really social about it, other than, I mean, friends. What friends? I mean, who's got thousands of friends? I mean, I'm not a Christian, Dr. Vibe. How many people followed Jesus in the beginning? Say, come up with a number. 1,000? There are people here on Blab that have 2,000 and 3,000. What is that? What does that make them? These are not followers. Facebook, they're not your friends. They call the powers be decided, okay, hey, we'll call it friends. It's if you grow up thinking, or you're learning, oh, I've got friends. Yeah, I've got friends. Look at Facebook. I've got a lot of friends. You don't make real friends. Real friends also has a lot of influence on what type of a man you're going to become.
Absolutely. Well, I really, here's James again. Well, I really can't speak for what is really going on today. It just my take. My film, I try to address making a difference. Maybe not directly becoming a good man, but becoming a good person. And that is what I'm trying to do, my contribution.
Yeah. But see, your show is about men, so you're talking about men. But I agree. You need to be a good person. I
Absolutely.
agree with him 100%.
So if if we're turning out younger men these days who don't know about manhood, and you're saying about the home, I think that's one of the most challenging places because, as I said, a lot of homes don't have a man in there. So it's getting more difficult for the opportunity for men to learn when they're growing up about being a man when a lot of times there's no man of the house.
True. Hopefully you have an older brother who is somebody to look up to. You have uncles that you can look up to. Hopefully.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. I don't have an answer.
No, you no worries. What you've shared has been quite valuable. Absolutely. It's a valuable. Do I gather you share a bit of the same fear I have about men growing up today? Do you have that concern, Amnon?
Can I share a bit of the same fear I have? I'm yes. What kind of world are we going to have tomorrow? These are the people that are growing up and are going to be our leaders. My daughter's leaders, maybe not my leaders, but my daughter's leaders. My grandchildren, when they come, leaders. What's going to happen? The only thing that keeps me from going crazy thinking about it is I know I'm not going to be around for that. I mean, it's selfish, but yeah, I mean, these guys are not growing up the way that, according to my values, the way that I would like for them to be. I always said that we should have a draft in this country. We should have a draft. If every kid, when they become 18 after high school, goes to serve for a year or two and learn some humility, A, and B, how to be a team player, and C, maybe learn a trade, and maybe it'll straighten them out. When they come out, we would have so much less problems in this country. But again, can I guarantee it? No. But
no.
I'm thinking that that's how it's going to be because the way that I grew up.
And it's interesting. James has a really good question. Does religion play a role in men learning how to be a man? That's a whole another conversation piece.
I think it is. I think it has a lot to do with that. And I have, and that you're right. It's a whole other conversation. I have a lot of arguments. I live in the South, and I'm Jewish, so a lot of people are thinking that you have to be a Christian in order to be a good person, and they come and they talk to you and all that. And I always tell people, I said, in my opinion, religion was invented in order to keep us straight. Do we know that there's hell? No, we don't. Do we know that there's heaven? No, we don't. But it doesn't matter whether you are Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, every religion wants you to be good. And if you follow your religion the right way, not the way that some are interpreting it, then you are going to be good. And if everybody does it, everybody's going to be good. But that's not how it happens. A lot of people take advantage of it. Yep. I mean, if you want to talk religion, I can really talk religion.
Behave yourself. You got a birthday tomorrow. Okay. James says, I never had one. I wrote my own religion, and I am the only member as far as I know. But I think about being a good person and making a contribution every day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a practicing Jew. I was born Jewish. Do I go to synagogue? I can't remember the last time I did. But it's just something that helps you be positive. Because in the back of your mind somewhere, say, that command said that I should respect my parents. That command said I shouldn't kill. That, and all these things, they are in your head, whether you think about them or they're just there without you thinking about them. You become good if you think that they mean something. You become good, or you maintain good, positive. Obviously, a lot of people don't do that. I mean, that's why we have so much murder and crime and what have you. But there's nothing we can do. You can continue spreading the word, Dr. Vibe. I like your shows because of that.
Thank you. I received that. James is asking if you're located in Washington.
No, I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So let me ask, gentlemen, when you do get a chance to be around younger men, what are you sharing with them, or what are they coming to you about, or what are they just, what are they asking? What kind of questions are they asking you, and what sort of learned response are you giving them back?
How do you fix computer? How
Well,
did you build that studio? Nobody comes, just like I never went. I don't expect anybody to come and ask me how to become a man.
Yeah.
I think I don't know that I would have an answer. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'll probably be, you know. So it's just that whenever we have people around with kids and everything, we behave accordingly. You think about what you say, because not because you have to, like a robot, say, I shouldn't say that. It's natural. It's I don't know. I don't think, okay, we have to set an example, because it's not a one-time thing.
But is I think setting an example go hand in hand with learning. So because
Wait a second, James. Why don't you jump in? I mean,
he can't, unfortunately. He doesn't have a camera.
he doesn't have to have a camera. That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
He can just jump in and
Yeah,
talk.
jump in. Yeah, we won't be able to see you, but we can just add verbal commentary. Yeah.
Yeah, he should be. I mean, I
Yeah,
see a
you
lot
should
of
be able,
people.
if your microphone's working on the device you're using, you can at least contribute audio wise. That'd be great. Okay, are you able to log in, James, and even just at least use your microphone?
He is logged in.
Okay. Okay, you're telling a story.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
That's it. Okay, let's leave it with this. He says, so I made a film, and this young man, Malik, who is from the hood in Baltimore, Maryland, was one of three, the one without a father. And as a white, he was a bit apprehensive. We'll keep on going. And I was driving around. Okay, I'll keep going with my story. Go ahead. No problem. And as he continues to type, one of the things like you said at the beginning, Amnon, is learning to be a father is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that. As your birthday's coming up tomorrow, but every day's a birthday, you're still learning about manhood.
Right. But I don't think about it. I mean, when you ask me and I say, okay, yeah, I'm still learning.
Do you feel that it's easier being a man today than it was 10 years ago?
I don't think it's any easier or any harder.
Okay.
To be. to
Okay.
evolve, to grow into a man today is probably harder than it was back then.
And why?
I don't know about 10 years. I mean, I take 30, 40 years.
About 20, maybe
Yeah.
maybe generational wise, maybe instead of the
Yeah.
10-year piece, maybe generation wise.
Yeah.
Okay, certainly.
It's-
So get back to James' stories. I'm driving around, and every time we were finished, I try to drop him back home. He always told me to drop him off at the corner, and I know why. He didn't want to be with a white. Wow.
Yeah. Can you blame him?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So when you were speaking with this gentleman, James, where was his manhood at this? Where was he in his manhood journey, or did that even? I know it didn't come up, but you could probably get a sense by spending some time with him. Where did his manhood stand at that time? Come premiere night of the film, after it was over in the lobby, he requested a picture of me and him, and I actually felt I made a difference with him. A great moment for me. True. Yeah, you know what? And that's him learning from you, because he realized the added value you provided in his life. That's a learning piece right there. That's a learning moment, that he wanted to take that picture, so you have an impact on his life. And a lot of times learning about manhood is just being a man, just being there. Really, things are going to happen. Just being there, you're going to learn about the manhood piece. No doubt about it. Oh, wow. When that documentary comes out, Goddess, even if you have a trailer, I'd love to see that, because that's someone who doesn't look like you, who's younger than you, who you're helping him learn to be a man, to break down the barriers. And you looked at the heart, not at the skin, but he looked at the heart. I try to move people having them watch my film. Little I know the influence. There you go.
Yep. Good for you. And good for
Yeah. That to me is, and that's, I think, a very important point too, is that especially as older men that we are, not deliberately as it's not a deliberate thing to teach younger men how to be a man, but setting the right example as much as possible and sharing some of your story. I think that's very important.
And you know
when
what?
you get the opportunity.
Any way you look at it, this is a lifelong relationship now. Even if they don't see each other in 30, 40 years, they still remember each other.
Yeah. Because he won't forget that lesson.
Right.
He won't forget that lesson about manhood that he learned. A great, yeah, well, and that's what it's all about.
And James will not forget
That's
that he helped him. So it's both sides. It's not
I'm DC. You know what's funny? You're gonna laugh, James. I'm in Toronto. I'm not even in your country. But it doesn't matter. And one of the things one of the things that I've learned over the number of years in conversations, especially with men, that there may be men in different countries, they may have different cultures, they may have different backgrounds, but a lot of times they've gone through the same things. They've gone through a lot, and a lot of times we don't realize that there's more things that men have experienced than they haven't experienced in their lives. Fear, rejection, all those things. That's not just a color thing. That's a man thing. That's a man thing. So sorry, I'm not in DC, unfortunately, but interesting side fact, my dad did go to Howard University. So I have a little bit of a DC roots in me. And another interesting tidbit, that when he went to Howard University, one of his professors was the great Toni Morrison. What prompted me to have learned to be a man as a topic? I have about 50 men topics, so this one was just one of them. But I really thought about it because, especially about the number of young men that don't have someone that they can learn about manhood. That's why I brought it up. Unfortunately, there's not as many people as I'd like, but I don't care. You guys are here. That's the important thing. Right? That's the important thing. So you know what? Quality instead of quantity. There you go. Hello, Tech Junk. Welcome for joining in the conversation. Yeah, you know, and I'll probably bring it up at a later date, but I just thought it was a very important point because some men will tell you where a turn happened in their life. You know, when I host these conversations, I usually don't give personal moments, but I'll give one here that a number of years ago, I had a grandaunt and she was not doing well health-wise. And my parents went away to Florida. And I remember being at work that afternoon. I got a call from the hospital and they were saying, your grandaunt is in hospital. She's not doing very well, et cetera, et cetera. My parents were in Florida. I'm in Toronto. They're not close. So I said to the doctor, you know, my parents are away. Is there any way that we can get in touch with my parents? So that night I got on a conference call with my parents and with my dad. And my dad was saying, hey, we'll be back in a few days, no problem. And he said, sir, I don't think she's going to make it to the next day. And it was unfortunately, she passed away the next day. And for a few days, I was responsible for a number of things for her. And to me, that was a learning moment for me as a man. So going into my manhood saying, you know, I had never done that. And, you know, on Amnon's point and both of yours point, it just happens a lot of the time. I didn't plan it. I didn't wish for it, but it happened. And you found a way. So that's one of those stories where, you know, how I learned to be a man. In a lot of times it's in adversity, really and truly. How men react in adversity is just as important as how we react when things are going good.
Yeah, I couldn't put my finger on. Well, maybe one thing, I mean, a life-changing situation when I said I do. That was a big...
You know, that, and you know, Amnon, that'd be a very interesting question to ask, especially married men, if they'd even respond with that event. Because I agree too that was for me a big moment. And you know, I couldn't be a boy anymore. Right? Congratulations, Amnon. Congrats, 39 years. Fantastic. 28 here. Beautiful. Rolling back, James, on some of the comments that you made. Brampton. Yeah, I have Brampton is about 45 minutes drive from where I live, but it is considered a part of Greater Toronto. So I know Brampton well.
James, did you hear what he said? Well. About. About.
Yeah, so, but that's fantastic. So, and it's a great response saying that, and I believe that any man that does get married, come on, stop it, guys, behave yourselves. About. I said about.
No,
not about.
About. You did not say about. You said it.
Well, this time a boot. Okay, well, I wasn't thinking soccer. So let me off easy, guys. Or as we say, Canadian instead of Canadian. Canadian, you know. But yeah, I think that's a great point and that may actually, and you know, and my conversations, all topics always come out of conversations. I'm certainly going to schedule one about what has marriage taught you about manhood?
I couldn't answer it.
For those who are married,
I couldn't answer
there you
it.
go.
I could. I don't
That's interesting.
Huh?
That hasn't learned you anything about manhood? Interesting.
I'm sure it did, but I can't think of anything. Kind of like if you.
Okay.
No, I can't think of anything. It taught me to be
No
more
problem.
responsible.
Okay. Just to interject for a moment, Tech Junk says, I won't make fun. I have a Boston accent.
Boston.
Boston. To the park. I have to find a wife first. No problem. Well, you know what? Don't just be yourself. Don't go looking, because if you go looking, you may get disappointed. Just be yourself. Believe me. But yeah, that's true. It finds you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It finds you in it, but it teaches you about manhood big time. It teaches you about manhood big. And I may say maybe outside of death of a father, it may be the biggest, or not, I'll roll that back. It may be the biggest learning curve for a man when he gets married. Maybe. I didn't say it is.
Yeah.
I'll say it's one of.
Yeah. Because
One
other thing that made a big change, I mean, here, is when I saw my daughter being born. And at that point you say, wow, here
you go.
Another person. Now priorities shift completely, sort of like.
Wow. James, you're being so transparent. Your wife has 12 years on me. If she is to go first, I envision myself wandering the streets aimlessly without her. That's a beautiful
Absolutely.
testimonial. And you know what? That tells me one of the things that you've learned about being a man is the importance of love.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to love if you're not loved when you're young. Again.
But there's still hope that you're not, if you can be loved older. But
hope. Let's say it's harder. There's always hope.
Yes.
I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubts about it. I fully agree. But James, man, I wish you had a camera. I'd love to see your face sharing that. That's powerful. And to the point of the topic, the lesson we need to, it's a lesson we need to pass to our youth. Absolutely. Especially young men, especially to young men. When I go out and share these days, especially to young men, I say to them, love is so important, and especially love yourself. Don't over love yourself, but love yourself. Because
go ahead.
No, go out. No,
I
absolutely.
disagree.
Go ahead.
I think men and women both need to learn that lesson.
Oh, I agree. No, I'm not saying that. No, absolutely. I think that one of the things, and what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Old song, but still very applicable today, because look at what, and because it's a men's show, I'll just focus on men, but also say women. Look at what men are doing to themselves. Look at what men are doing to other men. Look what, and I'm not saying all, some men are doing to themselves, some men are doing to other men, some men are doing to other women. If love was there, that I wouldn't be happening as much as it is. So obviously, I'm just going to say here that learning, when you've learned to love, that's an important, what's the word I'm looking for? I was going to say moment, but there's another word I was looking for. I can't think of it right now, but just an important moment. Learning how to be a man is one of the parts, is learning to love. loving yourself, and then loving others.
Yeah.
Revelation, yes. Revelation, I'll take that word. There's another one, but revelation is better than the one I put out there. So I receive that big time. It's I can't remember it. I'll take revelation. I'll take it. I'll take it. How do you say revelation in Boston? Revelation? No, that's not Bostonian enough. No, that ain't gonna work. He put it out there. Stop. Oh my, this is so much fun. That's fantastic. That is good. So yeah, learning to be a man doesn't get any easier. Probably is not as easy as it was a generation ago, but still an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a continuous journey. And love is at the foundation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You know, learn to love and love to learn. Let me put it that way. So as we wind up our conversation tonight, any final comments from yourself, Amnon, or James, or Mr. Tech Junk from Boston? Any final comments?
It's never final. Nothing is ever final. You hope that
Okay.
it's never final.
Any comments to end this conversation? Let me put it that way.
The only thing that I can say is that I hope that what you're pointing out and what we are hoping that is going to happen with men will happen, and that they will. It's almost, I mean, I'm saying it, but I'm thinking wishful thinking. That men will look up to their peers, their elders, their whatever, and learn the good things. The world will be a much better place.
Absolutely. James, do you have any final thoughts on this conversation? And my email address, anytime I type out in Blab, it never comes out completely. So I'll give you my email address before I shut down the recording. But any final comments you'd like to type in, and same thing with Tech Junk before we shut down the recording. Then we'll have a little bit of, I have to believe we will make it, although I am a pessimist. Huh?
Yeah.
I hear you. It's all good. Well, on that note from each one of the gentlemen, I will say this is another men's show that is held most Tuesday nights
You're
at
not
8:30 p.m.
You're not getting away
I am
with
Dr.
it. What is your? Yeah.
Oh, mine? Okay. Learning to be a man is the greatest journey that I've been on, and it's a continuous journey. The learning sometimes has been failure, but one of the nice things is, as I go on in the journey, there's more successes in learning to be a man than there are failures. And one of the big benefits of it is that I'm learning from other men, but also sharing, when I can, those learned things with other men. And that's men of all ages, all races, all backgrounds. Because if what you learn is good and you keep it to yourself, I feel you're robbing the world. So yes, I have my doubts in some areas, but I have hope and I have love. So because of numbers, I've shared more than I usually do, and Amnon's kept me on the block tonight, so that's good. And I don't mind that. That's fine. Absolutely. I don't get a chance to share as much, but you brought it out in me, so I appreciate that. So again, when it comes to learning, hope, love, share.
Good.
Hope, love, and share. Those are my final thoughts. I am Dr. Vibe. I'm host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show and many other shows, not only on Blab, but on other platforms. I will give out my email address for James, Dr. Vibe at the Dr. VIBESHOW.com. Hey, Van Gogh, what is up? I would love you to come in and he jumps back out. He'd be a really good person to have on. So he jumps in and jump out. I can't stand these people that jump in and jump out. So I'm just going to end. You can also catch me. All my conversations are put up on the drvibeshow.com. You can also have on the Dr. Vibe Show page, there's a contact me, and I just lost Amnon on the drvibeshow.com page. You can also catch me at thegoodmenproject.com, where I've put a number of my conversations on that platform. You can catch me at Blab. Twitter is up there. So it's been a great conversation. So much. We'll be having another conversation next week, but I think we're going to be going the podcast route because we're going to have two gentlemen on from early days when I was blessed enough to have them co-host the Manhood Show. I believe we're going to have Glenn Barker from the Mankind Project in Chicago, and we're also going to have Dr. Marvin Thompson from Louisiana. I don't know if it's going to be Blab. No problem, Amnon. I don't know if it's going to be Blab or podcast, but keep a watch on the Dr. Vibe page or follow me on Twitter, and I'll update you on what platform that show is going to be on. We're actually going to be discussing men's health. It is Men's Health Month, believe it or not. On top of being Black Music Month, it's actually Men's Health Month. So as always, I'd like to say you're blessed and highly favored. You're a magnet for miracles and your solution for someone's problem. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and stay in touch. And as we say down where I come from, walk good.